It was a boring day in the Johnson family's living room. Whiskers the cat was sprawled on the couch, looking like a fluffy pancake with whiskers. Suddenly, a tiny nose poked out from behind the bookshelf. Out popped Squeaky the mouse, small but brave.
Cheese! I can smell it from across the room.
Squeaky tiptoed across the carpet like a furry little ninja. But then, disaster struck. He stepped on a squeaky toy.
Squeak!
The sound woke up Whiskers.
Huh? What was that?
Whiskers' eyes popped open wide, his tail straight as an arrow. He saw Squeaky frozen in place. Squeaky saw Whiskers. For a moment, they just stared at each other. It was like a showdown in an old Western movie, except instead of cowboys, it was a cat and a mouse.
This is going to be interesting.
Whiskers leaped off the couch, now a furry rocket zooming towards Squeaky.
You're not getting away this time?
But Squeaky was fast too, darting under the coffee table. Whiskers tried to follow, but bonk! He hit his head.
Gotta get to the cheese.
Squeaky ran for the cheese on a plate on the side table. He climbed up the lamp cord like a tiny mountain climber. Whiskers saw him and pounced, but Squeaky was too quick. He jumped onto the lampshade. Whiskers landed on the table with a crash. The lampshade started spinning like a merry-go-round. Squeaky held on tight, looking like he was having the time of his life. Whiskers tried to catch him, but just got dizzy. Round and round they went, like a furry tornado in the living room.
Almost there.
Finally, Squeaky made a leap for the cheese, grabbed it and started to run. But the cheese was big and heavy. Squeaky looked like a tiny waiter carrying a giant pizza. Whiskers saw his chance and lunged forward with his paws out. But Squeaky ducked just in time.
Whoa, splash!
Whiskers climbed out of the fish tank, soaking wet. He shook himself dry, spraying water everywhere.
Can't catch me.
Squeaky was hiding behind a vase on the mantel. Whiskers spotted him and crept closer, but his wet paws left little puddles on the floor.
Squish, squish, squish. Oh no.
Whiskers looked down at his paws and frowned. He decided to try a new tactic. Jump onto the mantel and surprise Squeaky. He crouched down, wiggled his bottom and leaped, but he forgot he was still wet. His paws slipped on the edge of the mantel.
Whoops.
Whiskers slid right off and landed in the fireplace. When Whiskers emerged, he was covered in soot. He was no longer a white cat. Now he was black from head to tail.
Look at you now.
Squeaky peeked out from behind the vase and couldn't help but laugh. His tiny mouse giggles echoed through the room.
This is not my day.
Maybe you should take a break.
Whiskers sighed, knowing Squeaky was right.
Squeaky decided it was time to have some fun. He scurried down from the mantel.
Whiskers tried to follow, but he left sooty paw prints everywhere.
Squeaky ran to the toy box with an idea. He grabbed a jump rope and some marbles, then set to work. He tied one end of the jump rope to the leg of a chair and the other end around a table leg. Then he scattered marbles all over the floor.
Whiskers saw Squeaky and charged forward, but he didn't see the jump rope. His paws got tangled and whoosh! He flipped head over tail. Then he landed on the marbles, looking like he was ice skating in the living room.
Squeaky watched from the safety of the toy box, laughing so hard his tiny sides hurt.
Whiskers finally came to a stop, dizzy and confused. Squeaky felt a little bad for him, but only a little.
Maybe next time, Whiskers.
Whiskers sighed, knowing he had been outsmarted. Whiskers looked terrified. Squeaky was having the time of his life. Finally, Whiskers couldn't run anymore. He flopped down on the rug, out of breath. Squeaky stood in front of him, hands on his hips, looking very proud of himself. Squeaky saw his chance. He started chasing Whiskers. The cat scrambled to get away, running in circles around the living room. Squeaky followed close behind. It was the silliest sight ever, a tiny mouse chasing a big cat. Whiskers was so shocked he didn't know what to do. Here was this tiny mouse acting like a lion. Whiskers backed up slowly. He bumped into a stack of books. Crash! The books fell all around him. Now Whiskers was trapped in a book fort, only his eyes and ears poking out. Squeaky stood up on his hind legs and made his scariest face. He even added a little roar for effect. Whiskers blinked in surprise. Was this tiny mouse really challenging him? Squeaky was feeling brave. He decided to turn the tables on Whiskers. He puffed out his little chest and marched right up to the dizzy cat. Whiskers and Squeaky stared at each other, both tired from all the chasing. Squeaky's tummy rumbled. He remembered the cheese he had left behind. They both looked at the cheese sitting on the coffee table.
Squeaky took a deep breath and decided to be brave. Then to Whiskers' surprise, Squeaky offered it to him.
Whiskers blinked and gently took the cheese.
Chasing each other was fun, but being friends could be even better. They settled down on the couch together.